Hello, everybody, and welcome to the July 22nd episode of Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Donovan.
Last episode of Trips and Traps from Belmont. A little tear coming down my eye, but we're all looking forward to getting up to Saratoga.
Yes, it's not quite like leaving Aqueduct after the long-needed Aqueduct and coming to Belmont, because we love being at Belmont. We like being at Aqueduct too, but Belmont. But of course, we're looking forward to Saratoga. We will not be filming an episode though for the last week of Belmont opening day at Saratoga. There's just too much stuff going on. Next episode we film will be Thursday, August 6th, so we'll be coming to you the second week with a full program from the first week of Saratoga, but we've got some stuff to get to here, and we're going to go right in, and the first episode is going to be 3 races from last Wednesday, starting with the first race.
And we're taking a look at the 3 ready for my close-up from the start here. This is a horse that I thought would show early speed in this race and probably be on the lead here, but you see things get a little bit tight coming out of the gate here, and the jock has to steady on number 3 ready for my close-up. It's Rajiv Mirage on this horse here, and I think this really changes the complexion of the race, the way they come out of the gate.
Dramatically change the complexion of the race. And this is a classic example of a course that is very much influences how the races are won, because the way they're run dictates who wins the race much more often, or seemingly more often you would think, than the best horse winning. Now, the winner of this race was the favorite, but anybody that put Forest Trail in the lead in this race is really quite the seer, because this horse never had any speed, and as you pointed out, ready for my close-up, whether she was good enough or not, was a horse that anybody who looked at the race had to think was going to be in a lone lead, and there she is last in the picture.
Yeah, sitting about 5th position now, I guess probably about 7 from the front right here, and you're going to see ready for my close-up make a little bit of a move here to get in contention. We're also interested in the number 1 horse in this race, Weekend Strike, who actually, to correct you, did go off a slight favorite over Forest Trail in the race here, but that's really meaningless in this spot here. But anyway, you see ready for my close-up start to make that move up inside Weekend Strike, and Weekend Strike there on the outside. These horses are going to be floated 3 and 4 wide around the turn.
Yeah, and it's tough to losing ground in the inner course in these situations. Now, I don't know how good ready for my close-up is, but I know that this is not the way she wanted to run, and also against the dynamics of the race. Weekend Strike shouldn't have been the favorite in this race. Of course, I didn't like the winner either, but I don't know what was so appealing about Weekend Strike. All in all, though, she didn't run that badly, making this big 4-wide move here. Ready for my close-up taken out of her game completely. And there's Blitzen 2, by the way, inside of her steadying out. And Blitzen 2 is another one who was compromised by a lack of pace and was sitting second. Now, maybe she can't run anymore, but I'm interested in her in the future. The question for you, though, is which one of these horses are we for or against down the road?
That's a good question. I don't know. Ready for my close-up here, I think stays on pretty nicely through the stretch. I mean, this horse could have, tailed off a little bit through the lane, just barely gets beat for 3rd right there. The horse up the wire, I think, just nailed her for a 3rd spot there. But I thought, all in all, a decent race from Ready for my close-up, who, I liked in the race just because I thought she was going to be the speed in there. And I don't know, I guess you got to look forward and see, how you project her getting to the pace or getting to the lead in her next start.
Yeah, I agree. It's a hard one to read, and we'll have to see how she is coming out of this race and where she lands in Saratoga. She'll probably be in a top allowance spot. Let's face it, the races are tough. And the other thing is, you see very competitive paces up in Saratoga in these turf races. I'll be honest with you, the horse out of this race that I'm giving one more chance, and maybe it's just stupid arrogance, is Blitzen 2, who I think has been against it 2 times in a row and will look dirtied up in Saratoga. And if she gets in a race with a lot of pace up there, I think she'll be dangerous. But we'll move on from there, and we'll go into a maiden race, the 4th race, and these were 2-year-old maidens going 5 furlongs, all first-time starters. Races won wire to wire by an impressive Todd Pletcher horse named Union Waters.
We can see the 5 horse in here, and that is Grand Decision breaking toward the back of the pack. Grand Decision going off in this race at a pretty big price, 30 to 1 in fact here, but certainly ran like a horse that's going to take a lot more money second time out.
Yeah, and first of all, let's just stop it here. We're going to show you Genuine Charm, the 1 horse of Kieran McLaughlin, first-time starter, and this is an example of the dangers of being on the inside, and especially without room, with other horses outside of you going in that turn in these races. And you can watch, if you saw the head-on, we won't show it. As soon as they hit that turn, it tightens up, and Garcia has no choice but to steady out. Kieran McLaughlin, very good second-time starter, certainly one to watch the next time it runs, which I assume will be at Saratoga. Grand Decision, was Alan Jerkin's first-time starter. He never wins with these horses in these races, so it's no surprise this horse might need a race if she can run at all. And I thought, all things considered, that she broke a little slow. I don't care about that. There she is, last in the picture on the outside. Genuine Charm. I keep getting confused with the G's. Inside of her on the rail. I thought that Grand Decision did some running in the stretch.
Oh, absolutely. A ton of running here. Finishes up very nicely, I thought, and certainly a horse that you would think would be moving forward. You see a Grand Decision on the in-between horses now going to kind of angle toward the inside a little bit here for the run through the final 1/8 of a mile. But I thought a very good final 1/8 of a mile run here from Grand Decision, and a horse that probably wants a little bit more ground than 5 furlongs.
Yeah, she may, and it's also tough moving inside of horses. She was a little bit green. Now, this was a race that seemed to come apart a little bit behind the winner down the stretch, so I'm not really sure how I feel about the horses behind her. But I thought of all of them, the Grand Decision would be the biggest price and might have the most upside considering the connections and the fact that they just don't have their horses ready first time. But I have a feeling that Genuine Charm out of this race, in a race in Saratoga, will have a lot more speed next time it runs and probably run better.
Probably take a lot of money, too, off that trip.
Yes.
Let's get on to our final race from the first segment here. We're going to go to race number 5 from the 15th. We're going to look at the 7-horse Blue Hill Bay, who is a horse that, I think does a pretty good job when able to get on the lead and control things on the front end. This race was 7 furlongs, perhaps a little bit shorter than she likes to run, and you see her now settling back in third position here behind a couple early leaders. But I think what's going to be key here with Blue Hill Bay is the rider's decision to take this horse inside instead of just kind of sitting out where he was with her right now in about the 3 path or something like that, because there's going to be some separation between the top 2, Blue Hill Bay, and then the next 2 horses. We're running 4th and 5th here. I didn't really see it's nice to save ground. You want to save ground if you can, but I didn't really see a need to overcommit yourself to the rail in this spot here.
Yeah, I wonder if one of the problems was looking at the 2nd horse, Chanced. I don't know where she is, but she's not in the 2 path. It feels like she's out and about the 3 or 4 path. And it's a difficult situation for the rider, Jose Lescano, because he can't be outside of her. He's get in trouble. So then you're going to try to go between horses. Well, now she comes in the turn. It presents a predicament, but I do have this problem in general, and we've talked about it before, with getting over-married to the rail in these turf races, because it gets you in a lot of times more trouble than the ground that you saved is worth. Because you can see, and we'll see very soon as she tries to go on the side, there's no room, and it's not just that she's sort of getting stopped, because that doesn't matter that much. It's that the horses she has to beat that run 1-2, actually the horses that runs behind her, they're getting the jump on her. So while she's in tight inside, they've got full momentum, and they gain 2 lengths on her.
I wonder who's best, who has the lead right now. The 3-horse wins the race. You're going to see the favorite roll the die come up on the outside for second. But I thought real good effort here by Blue Hill Bay, coming back on for third to beat that horse, Ed's Princess, who kind of made that move at the top of the stretch around Blue Hill Bay. But this is a speed horse that I think does her best running on the front end. But she showed some guts here, having to overcome a little bit of a difficult situation and finishing up okay.
I don't disagree. The problem is she also had things that went her own way in the race. And the other thing was, when you look at the race, the horses that finished behind them were terrible in this field. And so I'm not really sure, and I think she's a horse that's going to show. I'm looking at the trouble line. In good position along the rail, steadied while lacking room along the rail, the quarter pole, blah, blah, blah. It's going to look, that's what's going to be in the chart. People are going to think it's a worse trip than it is. She's going to need to get loose in a 2-turn race Saratoga to win. Will that happen?
Well, it seems to happen quite a lot. I'm betting the horses that are coming from off the pace up there.
It does. I still find we get more competitive racing up front there. We'll see what happens. Blue Hill Bay, I think if she gets loose, we'll have to see. She certainly had dirty form going into this race and been in some tough spots.
Well, that does it for this episode of Trips and Traps. Keep in mind, you can still email us, although we'll be taking a 1-week hiatus from the show. You can still email us at tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com.
Yeah, we love to hear your comments anyway. Thanks for watching.
And come on back for the second episode.